Mic check 1, 2. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business. It's Friday. It's noon. It's time for Cars on the Move, where actually we have the melting block of ice. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect with Tim Scouteles, and we're going to talk about inventory that needs to get moved quickly, why, where we are on the status of vehicle supply. We're going to add Ty here in a minute to go further into it. Please do leave a like, share, copy, grab that YouTube link, jump in the live chat, say hello, let us know what interests you. Ty, what's going on, man? What are you doing?
I'm not in the transport parking lot today.
You are. You're not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Oh, okay.
Doing some office work today, and I'm actually happy about it. It's raining out, so if I was in a transport parking lot today, I'd be getting wet. Which, by the way, is another one of the things you need to think about before you just decide willy-nilly, I want to be a transport guy. If you don't like the outdoors and the weather, this may not be the job for you.
Check this out. I want to share something with you. I saw this on LinkedIn today. Let me go ahead and share. Okay, yeah, so melting block of ice with Tim Scouteles. That's today. Chip shortages real, still happening. I'm sure we're going to cover some of that with Tim. Repos are looking to grow. Look at this, man.
I saw that.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's about a week old, but I saw that.
Oh, my God.
Whoops.
Oh, my God. So
what the oh my gosh part is the part where look what kind of car that is.
It's a Chevy Volt, I know.
Yeah. So first, how many when you're driving down the road, how many Chevy Volts do you see on the road?
It would be like, you know, your Geo Metro needs body work and it's 50 grand. It's nuts. It's funny that they even put like Florida State battery fee $1.50. Really?
Yeah.
You just have to get that in there. Yeah, dude, yeah. That's insane.
So it's like before you decide you want to get into car hauling, make sure you like the outdoors. Before you buy an EV, make sure you have some money set aside.
That is some craziness. Did you see this?
Guess not. What's it say?
The life expectancy of a driver is 16 years less than the average. Wow. You really get it you get it on all ends, don't you?
Yeah, well, wait till you go back and watch Wednesday, you know, with Brian, DOT. They talk about get you. Ooh, trucking's not easy. And, you know, that's why we surround ourselves with good people like Pre-Owned Auto Logistics. Everybody thinks broker is a dirty word, but, you know, last Friday we were at their corporate headquarters, and I think that's Peabody, which is basically Boston. And I got the opportunity to go in there, sit down with them, talk to them. I'm just telling you, if I was a carrier guy, I would definitely want them in my arsenal of people that can help me build my business. So the pre-owned gang is pretty cool. There's so many changes going on. And I was thinking about today's show. I was really excited. Paul Machines got tied up in a meeting. He won't be making it. But we got Tim, and I always appreciate both these guys. I appreciate them on a relationship level. Got to meet them, got to shake their hands, got to spend some time with them, one-on-one, face-to-face. And again, that's one of the things I like about ATI is most of the friends that we have on our show, we know. And we're always excited to have them on our show because they've got critical insights for the entire industry, the ecosystem, as Jay likes to talk about. But to see, I was thinking this morning about Tim and you know what are these guys going to have to say? This is live. We haven't sat down and said, okay, here's what we're going to talk about today. But I always get excited about it because as a transport guy, I always look at the car lot and just physically look at it. Is it full? Is it empty? So COVID's running around. We don't have any new cars on. You literally can drive to a car lot and look at the lot, and you know there are no new cars on the lot. You can literally go say there's shortage of used cars on the lot because when you see them on the car lot parked like this versus parked like this, you've got a shortage, right? Then you listen to these guys, you go inside past the parking lot and you listen to a guy like Tim and you listen to a guy like Paul and you start seeing, and then Jason Rice. I mean, all these guys are talking about, okay, so during COVID, everybody's talked about record profits and turn, those things. So as a carrier, you know you're going to be moving cars. They're turning cars. They're selling them fast. Well, where are we today? So this is a great segue to bring Tim in today because I think things might be cooling off just a hair, but I'm not the expert. Tim is. Tim does this every day in, day out. So Jay, let's bring Tim in, see what he's got to say.
All right, let's do it. And so here's what we're gonna do. Up on center stage, we are now bringing in. He's the man. He is the human melting block of ice. Tim Scouteles is at the door. Okay, let's see here. Tim, can you see us and hear us? Okay.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
we can see you. We can hear you. Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much, Tim.
I forgot what YouTube felt like.
I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It's like a rebirth. Yeah, it's a new. It's September.
Yeah, so great
it's
to see you guys. I have been, busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, I'll tell you. Good to see you.
So when you say that, because last time we saw you, you're always busy, but you're Max Digital. Max Digital does stuff with car dealerships, pretty much new car stores.
Yeah, 90% of our client base is franchise dealer.
Right.
Maybe 15%, 85% franchise, 15% independent.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you talk about new car inventory, I see that every day. The dealers are being enticed to have zero, for the most part, to have zero used cars, new cars at the end of every month. Most manufacturers are pressing their guys to sell out every month. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. Expand on that though, because when I hear that as a transport guy, I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. You mean the guy that makes the cars is giving the guy that sells the cars some kind of an incentive to hurry up and get rid of them?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of games being played with pricing of new cars, right? With this market value, right? It's not everybody's charging MSRP for a new car, because it is a manufacturer suggested retail price. So legally, you could argue whether they could charge over or not, but some guys have chosen to. But the manufacturer is saying, hey, listen, we've got cars coming. We can build you cars. Don't be holding on cars for gross. We want you to sell. When you sell out, we'll give you more. If you are holding on to inventory because you're asking too much, right? Because everybody else in the industry is selling out. We're going to penalize those dealers that hold on or have inventory at the end of the month versus those that do not. So that's why you're not seeing any inventory on the manufacturer or the franchise dealer's lots, right?
Well, but that makes me ask the question, because I've seen this in real life. I didn't know if it was real. Originally, before, say, COVID and all this stuff, there was a separate location, whether it's a parking garage or a field, where dealers will put inventory that maybe they don't want on their lot right now. Is that what you're talking about?
No. So you could go buy a new car. I would tell you that it's probably a pretty okay time to go buy a new car right now. You will likely not go home in that car tonight if you were to go to the dealership. You'll likely have to wait. Depending upon what you want, the manufacturer, you could wait 30 days, 1 month to 6 to 8 months. It just depends on what you want. But you can get a new car. Okay. They're not gone, right? The manufacturers are just a little slower to produce them. That's all.
Yeah.
So you go to the Toyota store and you say, I want a RAV4, but I want that really cool galactic gray, and I want it in an XLE with a sunroof. And they'll go in, they'll go, oh, well, we have one coming next month. Do you want us to put your name on it? And you say yes, and great. So they do it, and that's how they're selling. So anything with Tahoes and Suburbans and all that stuff.
Can I ask, so where's the chip short? Where are we on chip shortage? Do you know?
So, we're probably no different today with regards to chips for automotive than we were a year or so ago. For a couple of reasons, chips have evolved. The guys who make the chips are making chips for other people, right? There's a greater demand, so we don't have as many people producing. I'm sorry, we have the same number of people producing chips, but we have a greater demand for the chip. I don't know if that makes sense. Does it? You know what I'm saying? Like we want iPhones, we want computers, we want refrigerators, we want
everything needs chips.
Ring doorbell, right?
And
everybody is
And I would think that the number of chips needed keeps going up.
Correct. Right. More chips needed. Same number of guys making chips. Right.
Well, yeah. Keep going. I'm sorry. But you got me wondering here because if I'm thinking, okay, this almost sounds like build to order.
Yeah, we're probably very much in a what would feel like a build to order. Don't get me wrong. You can't go down to the dealership and order a car anymore. I just talked to a friend of mine. She wants to go down and get a Venza, and so she's like, I want to go order a Venza. So I said, this here, Jasmine, just so you know, you can't order a car. You go down there and say, hey, I'd like to get a Venza. They're like, okay, let me show you what we have coming in. Sort of like, let me show you what we have on the lot, right? But now it's just looking upstream. Well, we have a white one, we have a blue one, and we have a black one. I was really hoping for red. Well, let me see what I can do. And then maybe they could switch it with somebody else. But the cars the cars they're building are the cars they're building.
Right. So the reason I'm pointing this out is because I know I've got some friends that primarily transport or specialize in OEM moves. So whether that's from the rail yard or whether that's from the plant, they've got a bucket full of keys, a large, but we need to move all these cars, guys. And that's what we've all known forever from transportation. But now I'm just curious, how do you manage? We don't have 50,000 cars sitting in the field anymore. We've got 40,000 and they go to 30,000 different locations. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I would imagine it's the cars are probably rolling right off the rail yard or the boat, right? Charleston, South Carolina, where they come off the boat down there?
Well, Toy, you've got a bunch of ports, but if you're talking the domestics too, I mean, even Toyota's here in the States, right?
Right. So the domestics, you get them off the rail. Yeah, I imagine that the pressure to move the car quickly from the yard to the dealership is as high as ever.
So that's what it would be. The dealership becomes the distribution center. Mm-hmm. Here's a bunch that go to this city. Mm-hmm. Just take it to the dealer, let him worry about it.
And so all right. The melting block is the need for supply at this point.
Well, so anytime we've always talked about the melting block of ice, that always had to do with depreciation, right? And that's on the used car side. So what we're seeing on the used car side is very different than what we're seeing on the new car side. The used car customer, let's just call them the consumer, is exhausted. They're just done, right? They're tired of hearing how I have to pay over MSRP. I can't get what I want. I gotta wait, and they just, it's exhausting. Now, couple that with interest rates are higher, right? My payment on my $30,000-$40,000 vehicle is now up $100. It's just like, and gas has been higher. It's better now, but it has been higher. So the consumer's like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. The people who are buying are the people who need to buy, who are really, in a position to buy. So what we're seeing is now a dealers with above average inventory cost, and large SUVs, trucks that are they're not moving. In many cases, you could go get that same late model, 1 or 2 year old used car. You could go buy it new for the same price or maybe even less.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
That's kind of where we're sitting, and it's pretty slow. Now, dealership profits are still really good. In fact, they've been great for 2 years.
Why is that? Why? How are the deal? Right? How is that? Why are dealership profits still so good?
So you've got the retail market and you've got the wholesale. They're completely different, and the consumers really don't have the insights into the difference between wholesale and retail that dealers do. And dealers do a really good job of creating urgency and selling. So, you go to the Chevy store and you see that brand new white on gray Suburban with all the bells and whistles, and everybody's saying you can't get one, so now they can charge more. It's a couple $1,000, but you do that over 24 months, over 2,000 cars a year. It's a lot of money, plus the financing, and the dealerships are doing a ton of service, right? So we know that the sales rates have slowed down, so the consumers are heading to get their cars fixed. I mean, I got a 130,000 mile car that I'm driving. I had to just put a freaking starter on it. I haven't put a starter on a car since I was 15 years old. Right? Who does
Usually,
that anymore?
In this business, you just get rid of it. If it means
right,
I'll just go buy another car.
I don't need those things, but I'm like, I don't want to buy a new one. So
yeah, that's funny. So what you're seeing. So, and help me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I get things messed up. But it wasn't probably less than 12 months ago. Things are just going out of control. Price of used cars going high. The dealerships turning them off the lot, selling them fast. We can't get our hands on them fast enough. The new was slow, but everybody's excited because we're making good money on these used, and you can't find any used cars, right? New or used. So now what are you seeing?
So we're seeing, dealerships are beginning to find their higher priced late model, say above average. I use the term above average unit cost or price. What I mean is like if I'm a Mercedes dealer, my average sale price might be $40,000. I'm now my above $40,000 vehicles, my 50, 60, even $100,000 vehicles are real slow. My stuff that's below average, 20,000 and under, that's fine. There's a demand for affordability. So dealers need to turn that inventory. They need their money back. Two, the payments on those cars are a lot higher. So I wish Paul was here because he's the smart guy when it comes to talking about payments. Yeah, Paul machine. But at the end of the day, right, a $50,000 car, whatever, would have been, I don't know, call it $700-800 a month. Now that car's pushing $800-900 a month for a payment. It's a lot.
Yeah. Big
so
difference.
They're having to lower the price of the vehicle to get the customer into the payment that they want.
I got it. But they're still selling though, right? Yeah. Still, the used cars there's still a demand.
Right. So good dealers are still turning their inventory. They're aggressive. But there's a bunch of dealers who have, rested on their laurels. It hasn't been hard to sell cars for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
As long as you had something that was nice, people came in and bought it.
Well, I heard this term. I think it came from Jason Rice. Yeah, he was doing his latest update, and he said he was talking to dealers, of course. But he says, "Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's lean and clean. You want to be lean and clean right now, or clean and lean, one of those two."
Right. So you don't want any water, right? You want to. If you have the fresher you can be, right? The average days in inventory, right? So you take all of your cars, how old they are, and divided by the number of cars, you get your average days in inventory. The lower you can be, right, the closer you are to par, the closer you are to today's market. So historically, those guys who have been doing this more than 20 years will know Labor Day is usually, marks a lot of different things in this world, and it marks the beginning of fall. I've always said, fall is when the prices of cars fall. We're going to see a significant adjustment here starting in September, probably November, December, all the way through early spring. Smart dealers will begin to aggressively retail out of their inventory. That's what I'm seeing right now. Dealers are aggressively lowering prices and remarketing. They're not running historically, you would run to the auction, flip out of that car and flip into something at today's price. I'm not seeing that because the selection at the auction isn't very good. I think a dealer is more reluctant to hold on to the vehicle that they have. Now, that doesn't mean I've been on this show before and I've talked about, hey, transporters, big dealership groups, they're moving inventory from one store to the next, right? They're going to say, hey, the car's been at store A for 60, 70 days. Let's move it over to store B. That car's got to get from one store to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that a lot in my years in business, and it's weird how it works because it actually works.
So I got another one. All right, so what are you seeing on phasing out of ICE to EV? Do you have some dealerships talking about this? Not
I
yet?
don't. I don't think we're seeing a lot of dealers, franchise dealers, have a lot of success in selling EVs. There's not enough data on my side to say that this is a huge success. The grosses are good, people are happy. I know that there's a lot of talk now on like, okay, if I'm going to go buy a Chevy Volt, how do I know I'm getting one with a good battery? That's like the thing to do now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I see the car has 100,000 miles, but what does that mean? Is the battery going to last me 10,000 or another 20,000?
Everybody's saying what you said. I mean, IARA at the Industry Advancement Committee, same thing. We don't have enough data on the batteries to know, which is pretty wild, because that's actually why I like bringing it up. This is a time capsule. In 5 years, we won't be saying this.
No, there's definitely, everyone's working on the technology. We saw it last year at Used Car Week. It was one of those, best ideas that they ran. The guy has a tester for the battery. I think it's brilliant. That'll be good because it'll really affect the value.
Is that right? So somebody's got a good battery tester.
Oh yeah, there's several of them out there now, but they're all small. The OEMs are still working. They're the last to worry about used cars. They're only worried about selling the new. They're not worried about the used car side of it. That'll be down to somebody who's some entrepreneur who's innovative. Will have to build a product and sell it out to Mannheim or ACV or something. We'll see what happens.
I wanted to go back to the auction real quick. You mentioned the auction in your dealers, moving cars, flipping cars auction. But when it comes to sourcing inventory, the auction's always been my favorite place to go. There's also places like ACV, Backlot Cars. There's Max Digital. Do you guys help acquire cars out of what you call, not we, the lane? Do you do that as well?
Yeah. So, we because we have dealers' sales history, we make stocking recommendations based on their sales history. So I use the analogy all the time. Your kids like to eat Cheerios, Rice Chex, and Frosted Flakes, right? And you got one box of Cheerios left. You got to have a box of Rice Krispies, and you ate the Frosted Flakes. So what do you got to go buy, right? Based on your sale rate. Because if you bought too much of one thing, you'll have one left over. So we help dealers based on their sale rate, know what cars to buy, know what levels to stock, and then we go out and help them find the cars. We've got integration with ACV. We have run lists from Mannheim, Odessa, OVE, Dealer Block. So we help them find the cars that are online. The problem is the cars that are hitting the auction these days, they're older and they're milier, right? They're just like everything else out there. It's I think we'll see a big influx of cars hit the auction this fall, but it's going to be enterprise cars with high miles and Avis and Hertz. They got to flip out of their cars.
So on that, where are Enterprise and Avis getting the cars to replace those? Are the new cars coming in?
Yeah, I mean, right. So they're taking in some new cars, but they're also going out and aggressively buying still, dealer trades and things like that they're finding out there.
Yeah. One of those companies made a big deal with Tesla. I thought it was the Model 3 or something.
So didn't Hertz cut a deal with Tesla? They're always trying to cut deals with the OEM. It's my experience. I'm not an expert in this field, but the OEMs would prefer to retail the cars. Right now, they get more money for them, right? They do have their franchisees. They need to follow up on their commitments. Selling cars to fleet companies, they don't make the kind of money on them that they do when they sell them to dealers and retail them. So I think the fleet, the fleet deals, they will come back to next year, maybe even later. Is my guess. So we're going to see rental car companies continue to buy used cars for the foreseeable future.
And I want to say this, that in the times I've been near rental car companies, because I sometimes check them out, I always see lots of car haulers. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I want to pull them over, like, where are you guys going? Where are you taking these cars? Right?
Yeah. I mean, they usually, so I worked for Enterprise back in the early 90s. We bought the cars brand new. You had to hold them for a certain amount of time, 3, 6, 9, 12 months or X amount of miles. And as soon as they were done, you could flip them out and you had to sell them. Now, they wanted you to sell them back to the dealers, but you sold them where you could get the most money. Today, they're buying them with 10, 20,000 miles on them, and they're running them to 50, 60, 70,000 miles. And they're having to do recon on them, right? Tires, brakes, a starter, right? These are things that they're out of warranty. They're having to do. So it's a whole different business model for them. I don't envy them. I happened to see the Enterprise guy at a Honda store a couple of weeks ago, and the used car manager is like, dude, like you're trying to sell me a Taurus with 120,000 miles on? Like, what do I need that car for?
Wow. That is weird. Okay, so I know I'm the auction guy. I keep hammering on the auction, but when you're in there with your used car manager and you're talking about inventory, are you seeing, because used to, you and I have had this conversation. We had our same 4 auctions we hit every week, right? And we would either have a buyer there or we would go ourselves. Yeah. COVID comes around, now we're buying online because we can't go. So where do you see, or even do you see where the bulk of the inventory is being sourced from? Is there percentages, breakdowns, or does it even matter?
What do you mean, like online versus in the lane? What do you mean?
Like auction, yeah. Like, so are your guys still buying from a physical auction, whether that's online or physically going? And
so a lot of auctions are running, right? They are driving the cars back over the lane, but guys are just bidding remote from their desk. Okay. Because you can now, Ty, you used to be able to go to, I would drive up from Memphis and go to 166 Auto Auction, and I could probably come home with 10 cars. Yeah. There's no way a guy could go and get 10 cars out of 166 right now. It just would be too much. So he's got to he's got to be able to hit 166, every Tuesday. When is 166 on Wednesday?
They're Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to be able to hit every Thursday sale in the country.
Yeah.
If it's Salt Lake.
So
right?
Yeah.
You just made a case from my desk.
That you just made a case why you need digital auctions.
Oh yeah, no, right. Whoa. The digital auction is here to stay. To think otherwise is crazy.
But this is cool. So you've been on here for a long time. We've been friends for a long time, and I'm just now putting these pieces together. I'm sorry. Okay. But you're saying that if I'm a dealer and I use Max Digital, you've got access to these, whether it's on an API, but these auctions I'm a dealer. I can get a hold of Max Digital. I want Tauruses today. I can
show you where, right. If you need Tauruses, if we want to recommend Tauruses for you because you sold a bunch, we can go find them for you.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. Okay,
there's a lot of software out there that does that. We've had our good buddy Sky from Auction.
No, he's Scott One View.
Sky Holman.
Yeah, Sky Holman.
One Auction View, right? His product does that. ACV has a product out called S.A.M. A Smart Acquisition Manager. It searches all over ACV. Whenever a car that pops up that you've designated you need it serves it up to you. I mean, there's tools out there that do it for you. But, you'll be in Memphis and you'll see there's a car in Chicago at this minute. There's a car over in Pittsburgh right here. There's a car over in Springfield, Missouri, right? One over in Birmingham. It's like you're buying from everywhere nowadays. You're not just buying at your favorite lane on Thursdays.
I just want to say this, newsflash, I hadn't heard of this before. S.A.M, dude, this is new. You just said ACV unveils Smart Acquisition Manager.
Right.
That is news just July.
Right, yeah. Wow. So this is a product they've been testing for a while, but they just rolled it out for any ACV customer. So if you're not familiar with ACV, it goes all day. It doesn't stop, right? If you're a seller, you can launch your car at any time. Some guys like to launch them at 6, 7 o'clock at night. As a buyer, that can be a little frustrating, right? Well, I got my kid's soccer game. I don't want to be having to worry about buying cars. So you can set you work with this S.A.M, and it sets all these filters up based on the condition report, certain year, make, model, trims, and it'll only alert you to those cars, as opposed to having to sit there and scroll through and go, oh, that's a car I want, and that's a car I want. It cuts down a lot of the work for you.
I was wondering, right, how you're right. That you just made a great. So again, the technology, you've got a digital buyer working for you, and you can enjoy the soccer game.
But see,
I see the ad, right? That's the ad.
No, this is where it gets really cool. But okay, so I'm hearing that, and I'm like, talk about a transportation nightmare. But oh wait, as Tim kept talking, like ACV has the solution to the transportation nightmare. We can give you. There's a car in Chicago and Pennsylvania and California, but we also have the transportation solution for that problem, which is the ACV carrier app, I believe.
Right, the carrier app. I mean, listen.
I got it. And the transporter's at the same soccer game, and he gets a notification that he's picking up another car tomorrow.
Right, he can load up his load board on his mobile phone while he's watching his kid play soccer.
Dude.
And so he knows on Monday morning, he knows he's got to head to Pittsburgh, shoot back over to Chicago, back down over to Joplin, and he comes over to Memphis, and he's done. He's got the street cars. I don't know.
Yeah, no, this is what's interesting.
And then the kid scores a goal, and everybody's in a Gatorade, and it's ACV.
ACV party.
Dude,
well,
love it.
And so that's because really, I would think, and I've talked to a couple dealers at the NIADA. We started talking about how, I'm kind of leading the witness. I'm like, hey, how's it been going buying online? Oh gosh. So, and I asked a couple of them. I think even on this live channel, I think I was like, well, have you heard of ACV? No. Well, there's a solution for that problem out there. Oh wow. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn with you guys.
Yeah, right. When inventory availability has remained pretty flat, pretty steady. As soon as we start to see new car inventories come back, that's when we'll see wholesale pickup. And auctions will start to ramp up, and I think you'll see a big difference in the way people buy when that time comes.
Live chat question for you, Tim. Okay. I found 11 repos on a lot. All windshields have dates from July. I inquired if they were for sale. They're still not processed yet. Tim, any idea why?
So, one of the biggest challenges today for dealers is collecting titles. It is it's manual labor. It does require somebody to literally, take the piece of paper, sign it, do all the correct odometer statement, things like that, and put it in an envelope, right, properly, and get it over to the next person so that they can buy it. It's a very antiquated and labor-intense process that historically hasn't paid a lot of money. So we're seeing a big lag in producing titles. That's just on the physical side.
Yeah. I want to say I happen to know somebody in title and registration, and there's blood on the walls in that.
Yeah, they hate it. It's terrible. It's
crazy.
Worse.
Yeah, it's awful.
Second, all the rules, all the laws and rules of the different states, it's so confusing. So it is causing a lot of angst. So all that news you read about Carvana, right, losing their dealer licenses in different states, it's because they're not producing the titles. It's a best practice of many dealers not to retail a car until you have the title. Retailing a car without the title is a very slippery slope.
Wow. Yikes. Whoa. Okay, so let's do projection for our next meeting next month. What are you seeing?
And if you have any show and tell, but I'm handing it back to you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we're good. We've had a full show, but, I don't know.
I'm learning a lot. This is great.
Maybe we could bring in the guys from the ACV the research department, and they could share with you guys some of the new things they're doing on the inspection side.
Can we? We've got open spots coming up.
How cool would that be to talk? Dude. So one of the things they do that's different is their inspection process. I think that would be a pretty unique thing for the guys to see, and follow that up with the transport guys, because I know that your guys are all transporters. Love them to death. We can't do it without you guys. Okay, don't think otherwise. Just because the used car manager snapped your head off doesn't mean he doesn't like you. It's just the way it goes.
That's right. You don't have soft skin in this game, kids.
Yeah, I do. I feel bad. I was at the same Honda dealer, and the used car manager, the transporter came in and just wanted to drop the keys off, and not now. I'm like, come on, man. This poor transporter's got to go, dude. It's 110 degrees outside, so I feel for you, fellas. Keep your heads
Well,
up.
we're making a difference, and I think the dealers are starting to really understand too, because when a dealer, I can't imagine how they have managed to buy cars, especially single units in different states from where they're located and the challenges they've had. I would say that there's probably this kind of new developing appreciation for the transport
Yeah.
guy, and so you're right. You're absolutely right.
Do you remember the days where you used to be able to go buy a truckload of like cars at a time, like Dodge Neons or Mitsubishi Lancers? Remember those days?
I love the
Do,
neons.
do
Oh
we
man.
do we even have the transporters, like the guys with the CDLs to do that today? I don't think we do.
No, and you bring up a great point. There's in our group, we're friends with a lot of different characters. So in our group, we're friends with what we call the repo gang.
Yeah.
And there's Brianna Cox, and she's pointing out this company, Primeritus. Jay, is that right?
Yeah, so Primeritus Financial Services, she says, is a freight forwarder, and there's been a lot of activity in the ARA and other associations about, we always talk, you got to pay your service vendor. We talk about carriers, but in this case, yeah, she's saying repo agents aren't getting paid, and it's slowly putting people out of business. She knows at least one carrier that.
Where I was
repo
going with
agency,
this is the people with the money, the lenders, the financial institutions, the remarketers, those guys that got the money. I don't think, and I brought this up in a committee meeting at IARA in Nashville 2 weeks ago. Said, you guys are talking about EVs, and that's great, but do you understand that the carrier base is dwindling away at a really rapid pace? I mean, these guys are
doing they're going to do other things.
Well, the crazier part is it used to be one leaves 10 to 20 are right behind them coming in. The guys that I've been talking to, it's one leaves. Now we're down to maybe 5 coming in, and they don't last. So the turnover's 3 to 6 months, and they're out.
Yeah.
So I would feel if I were a big financial company and I'm remarketing, I would be a little concerned as to what's going on. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, but that's the thing, is that age-old problem. Nobody cares. I mean, until there's nobody to move your stuff,
right?
Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. But see, what Tim's saying, and I think Tim really does, in my opinion, I think Tim speaks for the dealer, and I think the dealer understands. I really need to make sure I've got that relationship with that carrier or that broker, and I take care of it. I really think that
the dealer does, but does the consignor?
Not yet, but I think they're the ones that are going to feel the pain, and that's just my opinion. But I think if they don't clean their act up, it's going to be a rough day.
And they're going to be looking at their service provider that said, "Oh yeah, we have trucks, we got it covered." Well.
Unless the wholesale, and this, Tim, it would be a great conversation for another day, but the wholesale market, the way that I think you saw it and I saw it in this business, the years that we've been in it, was you see a bulk of, whether it's enterprise cars or what are those, the Nissan and the Dodge.
Yeah, off-lease vehicles.
Yeah, off-lease, yeah. And I'd get the phone call, Ty, we got 200 of them, we need to move them 300 miles. Go to the next one. Just keep.
Yeah.
Maybe the technology comes to a place where we don't have to move those as much.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to have to move them twice. That's a good conversation. I think you're only going to move them once. I think companies like ACV will go and inspect the car where it's at and sell it from there and just move it. I don't think you're going to have to take it from where it's at, move it to the auction, and then move it to the seller. I think you've lost one move.
And I believe that that's going to be the solution to the remarketing people who are treating the repo people bad. Yeah. And then the carrier gets, the way that it works in our world, transportation-wise, is some big money company, whoever it is, bank, institution, they've got all the money, all the cars, and that's where they're always watching that melting block of ice closer than anybody, right?
Yeah.
So if now we've got supposedly this record number of repos laying around, they're going to come into the market. The repo company people, they've had it with the lending institutions because the rates suck, everything sucks. Those guys have been fighting for a long time. Well, the big money people can just go to somebody like ACV and say, I don't care, just leave them in a field wherever.
Right. We'll come in, we'll inspect them, and we'll have them. Now, the problem will be, to the guy who made the comment, where's the title?
Yeah, that's another show too.
That's
And
going to
we
be
should
good.
bring
Where,
candy.
Where's the title?
where's
That's
the
a
title?
great show.
I'll buy the car, but where's the
Oh
title?
my gosh, where's the
Jay,
title?
write that one down seriously,
Yeah, I'm
because
gonna write that. I'm gonna write
that's a
that down.
huge
With
one.
my
All
new
right.
meme. Where's the title?
Where's
Yeah,
the
that's what. Yeah.
title? That's
Scouteles.
Tim's new meme. Yeah, that's
Okay, so we're
great.
gonna meet in a month, right? And you're gonna come back, and I think we're gonna try to bring some ACV guys on. Does that sound right?
Fine. Yeah, I'll call my guys. They're in the bunker now, just working on secret stuff.
So I would like your 30-day prediction, your forecast for the next 30 days.
Steady declines in wholesale, dealers gripping, customer, consumer confidence is no different, or on autos, it's the same. We're at a holding pattern.
Okay.
It's just,
that's good. So in 30 days, we'll come back and we'll look, and it'll probably be about
prices will be down. We got to get Machine on here to explain prices. That guy, that's what we need to do.
Okay.
Why
don't we bring your ACV guys on? We'll give them 5-10 minutes, and we'll try to snag Paul. Is that cool?
All right. I like it.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, you guys are great. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you so much.
Happy fall, y'all. We'll see you next time, all right?
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, Jay.
All right. I'll put you back in the... Oh, good. So, I just want to say this is that in the live chat, Vance says, so how do we small operators reel in hauling OEM units without being leased on to HAL, Proficient, Supreme? Any ideas?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm going to go way out in left field and speculate. But this, if you look at the current trend, what's the current trend? The OEM is trying to go directly to retail. So if the OEM is going to try to go directly to retail, how about the OEM go directly to the carrier? Or they become their own logistics managing company, right? So it's Ford Transportation or whatever the case may be, and they're the broker now.
I love your answer, because it seems like more technology companies are trying to figure out how to connect the carrier to the shipper without all the stuff in between.
Yeah.
And what you just said fits that model.
Really, yeah, it really does. And so what would drive that decision is based on what we're currently seeing. And that's what I always say to you. If anybody wants to be a car hauler, all you got to do is go watch the used car market. Go watch that guy's lot. I mean, you can learn so much, or the transport parking lot at the auction. But the reason I say this is because if you're watching the news like Jay and I do on LinkedIn, and you're watching the OEM and you're watching the used car and the auctions, the OEM is right now literally trying to take over retail.
But until that happens, Vance, because I understand Vance is like, that's great, you guys, but I got to work today. I can't wait till 2025. Well, how about, Vance, how's your Rolodex on all of those companies? Do you have 20 full load companies that you can contact, like Midwestern, Brothers?
Well, yeah, see, and you're right. So what's the future? Well, I could easily predict or speculate live, the OEMs will become their own transport company. There's one. Two is we'll never know. So what happens already, here's what I do know. These big guys, the Proficients, the Virginias, the United Roads that have these new car contracts, I know for a fact if it's 3 cars going to 3 different cities, all within 50 miles apiece, they're not going to throw that on their Stinger. That's where you come in, as the little guy. So going up with, you call them a broker, call them a carrier, whatever. Most of the bigger carriers are also brokers. They get the download on this spot buy. That's where guys like you come in. So reaching out to those people that already have an existing contract, I think would be the way to go for the short term.
Well, and I was just thinking, this is where that silly little list I put together, top 50 auto transport businesses, I'm going to try to find that, not if we are living on the load boards. Vance just dropped the bomb in the live chat, not if we were living on the load boards. On the load boards.
And that's a good point too, Vance. It really is, because my way of thinking has shifted and it's continued. So Jay started this show 5 years ago. I didn't know what a dispatcher was from his perspective. So anyway, we've both grown together to kind of see as much as we can. But where I'm going, what I'm saying is the mindset that I've always had and I'll keep having, which is 100% relationships. Go and talk to the dealer. Go and talk to the auction. That's where I would go. People don't have the ability to do that. First, used to say just go to the load board. Today, I'm saying more and more. I'm saying go to pre-owned auto logistics.
The thing that's different
go
about
to
a verbal
a broker that's got the cars that takes care of people. And I talked to a guy yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Sikeston, Missouri. Really great phone call. Just random, because if you need anything, just call Ty, 417-483-2764. But this guy calls. He's been working for these bigger brokers hauling these new cars, and he's kind of not really too excited about it. Oh, he called about how are these guys transporting cars on Central Dispatch for 60 cents a mile. He wasn't happy about it. That's the guy I sent you. It was Daryl Hall. Remember I sent you a text? That's who it is. He's going to call in on the 13th, the Tuesday night show.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Daryl Hall. Okay, good.
Yeah, he was really upset about somebody's taking these cars. I'm like, dude, 60 cents back when I had my trucks and I'd never used Central Dispatch. We would post stuff just based on 35 cents, 32 cents. I'm like,
dude, well, we shared on Dispatching Live yesterday. I mean, there was a major broker posting trucks for 39 cents a mile to the carrier.
oh,
And I mean, here's the problem. It's September. If that's the post in September, what are they going to pay in December? Like 20 cents a mile. Not to mention, transportation providers, truckers live 16 years less.
was that, do you know if those were new trucks? Did you happen to notice?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think they were, because I think it was two different. I don't even. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter, but it does matter because, we can talk about that another show. But I guess what I'm saying, Vance, back to, what's the future look like? I still go to the number one, which is go make sure everybody in your neighborhood knows who you are, what you do, and where you go. So this guy, that's why I brought up the Sikeston guy, because I'm familiar. From Missouri. I've done some business in Sikeston. There's nothing in Sikeston except Copart guys who buy that stuff from Copart and IA, and nobody wants to go get their stuff. So I told the guy, don't go talk to them unless you want to do in-ops. And he's like, no, I hate in-ops, and I know exactly who you're talking about. It's a really funny conversation because I'm like, there's Car-Marts over there. Go talk to Car-Mart and ask them who their PA is. What's a PA? Purchasing agent. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. They're always needing somebody because nobody goes to Sikeston. Right. So, you go talk to the local guys, you let them know who you are, and you tell them, I go to St. Louis, Memphis, Nashville, and maybe Little Rock. Now, I know this because that's kind of my territory, my neighborhood. There's not too many guys in Sikeston that know who transports cars. And so I'm talking to Vance, I'm talking to anybody else. Where you live, go start with your local car dealer guys, go to the buy here, pay here guys, find out which auctions they go to. Those are the auctions that you go to, right? They need to know. I mean, I'm telling you, go walk into a car dealer and ask them if they know who the local transport guy is. They don't have a local transport guy. You won't find it very often. There's an opportunity for you. Okay. And then number two would be, if you can't do that or don't want to do that, go to the broker.
Yeah.
And we've got lists of brokers.
Well, and that's one, thank you. That's one of the things we've been saying that kind of brings it back home is that, if you can't go direct to the shipper, make a relationship with the broker, because you will get contacted first before it hits the load board.
Yeah, if you do a good job, and that's where we slide into.
That's good feedback too. If your phone never rings and you got a big Rolodex, you just learn something.
My ETA is my ETA may not be the
right. You might not post that on Facebook next time.
I don't know why my phone's not ringing. I just said my ETA is my ETA.
Oh, man. All right. Well, it was a good one.
Thank you, Tim. Always appreciate it.
That was a good show. So have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll be back on Tuesday night. We should have that show with John Larrick and hiring car haulers. We're still trying to put that show together, so help me get a hold of John and,
For next Tuesday?
After in 5 days? 4 days?
Okay.
I know.
Yeah. All right, I'll get a hold of him. I sent him a driver. I got a random phone call the other day. Sent one to him.
I'm telling you, the carrier shows are the hardest ones to put together.
Yeah. Well, the busy guys. You'd be surprised how
I'd
much
love
happens
real
after
busy.
dark.
Yeah, and that's
There's more
why
happens
we're
after
here.
dark.
That's why we're here to help. So, all
All right,
right,
buddy.
man.
Well, good to
Have a
see you.
good
Hope you
one.
get feeling better.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, see ya. All right, and so Ty has left the meeting. I want to thank everybody in the live chat. Thank you for saying hello and checking out ATI. I sure do appreciate it. Yep, got a bit of a, I don't know. I don't know what I got. I'll be fine. Get some sleep. Drink some OJ. And the show must go on. So thank you so much for joining us on ATI. We'll be back next week. We've got some pretty crazy stuff to get into next week. So join us on ATI. You'll look for more information coming after the weekend. Because there's some stuff we just got to make sure we talk about. This is ATI Auto Business. My name is Jay. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And we'll see you soon. Peace out, everybody.